hell? What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do here, man. We break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, man. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping in with the channel, subscribing, hitting that like button, man, spreading the word about the channel. Greatly appreciate that, man. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best. Let's seek the truth.
Fascinating as fuck. Jeremy Meeks, the man whose mugshot was so sexy that it landed him a modeling contract while he was still in jail. He served 13 months, and shortly after his release, he walked in New York Fashion Week. Eric Money is the only player to score points for both teams in a single NBA game. When the Nets played the Sixers in 1978, he scored for the Nets before being traded to the Sixers in the middle of the game. In World War II, British soldiers used well bikes, a small motorcycle that could fit in an air canister and be dropped out of planes with a parachute. On New Year's Eve in 2020, a friendly soccer match was played between rival drug cartels. However, it quickly became not so friendly when the match ended with 16 deaths and 5 severe injuries. During the making of Prince of Egypt, animators who failed or messed up were sent to work on Shrek. This was seen as a form of punishment known as getting Shreked.
Getting Shreked? You guys, seekers, man, that proves right there, bro. You never know what could happen, man. They got sent as a form of punishment, but Shrek, you know, that kicked off that franchise, man. So you never know, man, what life's gonna take, what road it's gonna push you down, man. One door closes, another opportunity opens, man. But that's crazy, man. I heard about the fashion guy, you know, who was in jail, but they liked him so much he became like a, I guess, big fashion star icon. I ain't kind of believe it at first, but it confirmed it. Tap in with us, man.
This mother and her 10-month-old baby were murdered by the cartel. 16-year-old Alyssa Perez was found deceased holding her 10-month-old baby, Nicholas, in a ditch in Tulare, California. Officers arrived to the home around 4 a.m. after someone called police about a large number of gunshots. When they entered the home, they found another victim in the doorway, and there were 3 more bodies inside, including an older woman. All the victims were murdered by a gunshot to the head, and 2 other women actually survived by hiding in a nearby trailer. It's been said that Alyssa tried to run away with her baby, but then she was found and murdered. Investigators believe that this was a gang-related attack and that they were trying to send a message. But after further investigation, police records revealed that the week prior, a search warrant was done on the property and guns, marijuana, and meth were found, which is why they concluded that this crime was drug-related. Police also mentioned that the manner and swiftness of the killings suggested that the men were experienced in murder.
So it was targeted.
What was the Cincinnati Crawler? In 1974, the Johnson family in Cincinnati noticed a couple of weird things happening in their home. Their 14-year-old daughter, Claire, would complain of seeing glowing eyes outside her window at night, and the feeling of being watched. One night, the youngest son, Timmy, was laying in bed in the dark when he felt the family dog jump onto his bed. Except that when he went to pet it, it wasn't the dog, but the Cincinnati Crawler, who immediately fled the scene. Till date, police think that the Crawler is responsible for the disappearance of 4 other boys in the area. While some believe that he was an escaped convict, others believe that he was actually the victim of human experiments that may have been conducted by the family's dad. However, we only know what he looks like from a photo Claire snapped before he escaped, leading many to wonder.
We need to talk.
The Cincinnati Crawler. What the hell? And it's kind of weird that he's never been caught to this day, I'm guessing. Like, imagine, yeah, you think it's a dog you petting, and it's a whole person, man, just in your house wearing that type of mask. How would you guys respond? That's just something you don't even think about, man. How the hell are you in a house? These are questions, man, we need to be asking ourselves.
talk about this photo, because Josh Maddox was found inside this chimney with his knees bent over his head, and he had been there for 7 years. But what happened to him, and how did he end up stuck inside a chimney for that long? Allegedly, Josh went out on a walk one day and completely disappeared, until one day a builder from Colorado Springs wanted to demolish his old abandoned cabin, and that's when Josh was found curled up and mummified inside the chimney. But the strange thing is, even though his body was found with his knees bent over his head, there were no injuries or broken bones. The coroner who performed Josh's autopsy believes he crawled up the chimney himself, and he curled up in that position to protect himself from something. But this case gets even more bizarre from here. Not only was Josh found in such an unnatural position, but he was found only wearing a thermal suit. The rest of his clothes were in the cabin, neatly folded. So why would he fold up his clothes and then crawl up the chimney? The chimney also had a heavy steel mesh grate built into it, so it would have been impossible for anyone to slide back down the chimney. Many people disagree, but this terrible incident was eventually ruled as an accident, even though we'll never truly know what Josh wanted to protect himself from by crawling up the chimney. Follow for more.
Was that an accident? The heck?
If you're thinking about ignoring your gut instinct, don't. Here are 3 reasons why you should trust it. BuzzFeed user Vodka Sunshine said that when she was in college, there was this really cute guy in one of her classes. A week or 2 in, they had to work together on a small project, and she was pretty excited about the opportunity to get to know him. After speaking to him, though, she got a really bad vibe from him, but nothing specific that she could put her finger on. She said that she lost all attraction to him and knew that she should keep her distance. A month or 2 later, their teacher announced that the guy had been arrested for murdering a girl he was dating. Reddit user Helios21 said that he was at a club on a boardwalk with some buddies in Puerto Rico. He said that he just didn't feel right, and he told them that they should leave. They fussed and moaned, but eventually they all left. Before they even hit the parking lot, a massive shootout broke out inside the club. The front door guy was shot to death, and a few of the people inside were as well. It was literal pandemonium, people screaming and running everywhere. The ride back to their place was quiet, but they all knew they got really lucky that night. Reddit user BreakTD said that over 20 years ago, when he was 17 or so, 2 of his buddies came to pick him up to get the night started. He got in the back of their car, but as soon as he sat down, he had a feeling of impending doom rush over him. He said that he had never felt that feeling before, and never felt it since. He immediately asked to be let out with some excuse, and said that they would catch up later. He got out, and he said the feeling quickly faded, so he went on about his day. About 2 hours later, he catches up with some other friends, and they immediately tell him that the 2 friends that came to pick him up earlier were involved in a major car accident. Both were seriously hurt and in the hospital. The accident happened about 10 minutes after they tried to pick him up. They both survived. The car did not survive, though. It was struck in the passenger side rear right, where he would have been sitting. Reddit user BreakTD said that he was pretty positive after seeing the damage done that he would not have survived. The orphan.
Hey man, we gotta trust our gut feelings, because they, even though you know some people may try to knock and be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, but no, your gut feeling, like if you feel something that's not right or you feeling vibe is off or something, just trust it. As it was shown here today, man, it can literally save your life.
Was based on a real story. In 2007, a 33-year-old Czech Republic woman named Barbara Skrylova used her rare disease, hypoparathyroidism, to pose as a 13-year-old girl and trick 2 sisters, Clara and Katerina Marova, into adopting her. She quickly took advantage of the schizophrenic sisters and manipulated them into joining a cult called the Grail Movement, which promoted child abuse and cannibalism, amongst other aberrations. Barbara soon got jealous of Clara's biological children and schemed to get rid of them. She broke things and pinned the blame on the 2 children, and convinced the 2 sisters that they needed to be punished in the form of torture. Eventually, a neighbor caught the signal of a wireless camera and reported them to the police, but not before Barbara posed as a 12-year-old girl called Annika and got adopted by another family, fleeing the country. Eventually, she was caught and extradited to the Czech Republic. But did you know that
She pulled that off 2 times. How the hell does she do that?
enough of my videos, you probably think you know what's in that suitcase, but you're wrong. In May of 2004, several pieces of luggage washed up on a shore in Virginia, each case containing the body parts of an unidentified person. Immediately, an investigation was launched, and a facial reconstruction of the body led to Melanie McGuire. Melanie, who was having an affair with her boss, had purchased a gun and shot her husband Bill multiple times. She then dismembered his body, packed it into 3 separate suitcases, and dumped them into Chesapeake Bay.
Whoa.
And on July 19th, 2007, at the age of 34, Melanie McGuire was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison.
So crying, like, what the heck?
Cameron realized he was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Cameron was a normal 18-year-old boy living in Tampa, Florida in 2018. He had also recently graduated high school, and to congratulate him, his parents got him a black Ford Mustang.
Damn.
On May 23, 2018, Cameron and his brother Tristan had gone to a local gym. While they were there, they had also run into an old friend of theirs named John Burrineau. Once they were done at the gym, all 3 of the friends got into their cars. Cameron and Tristan were in the black Ford Mustang, while John was in his own car. As they approached a street light, both of the cars were side by side, and that's where they got the brilliant idea to do some street racing. Both of the cars sped up very quickly, reaching over 100 miles an hour.
Sheesh.
At the same time, a mother and her young child were crossing the street. Unfortunately, the cars were just going way too fast in order for her to make it across the street in time. Her name was Jessica, and her daughter's name was Lilia. And unfortunately, it was a direct hit. John was able to swerve past her, but unfortunately, Cameron ended up hitting her head on. All Cameron could do was watch Jessica and Lilia's bodies fly into the air as he hit them. Moments after the crash, Jessica's husband David Robinall passed by in his own car. At the time that he was passing by, he had no idea that his wife had just been involved in a major accident. He noticed there was a huge crowd of people looking at the accident, but he just wanted to get home and hope that no one had gotten hurt too badly. David then tried to call his wife, but she wasn't answering, and when he went home, she wasn't there either. He then figured that she must have seen the accident, so he went to go see for himself. And when he got there, that's when he noticed that his wife and baby stroller was right there in the middle of the street. Immediately, chills went down his spine when he realized that his wife and daughter had been the victims of this horrible accident. Unfortunately, Jessica passed away the same day as the accident, and Lilia tried to fight, but she passed away the following day. Immediately, both Cameron and John were charged since they were the ones driving. John took a plea deal and was given 6 years in prison with 15 years of probation. Cameron took an open plea, but to his surprise and his family's surprise, he was given 24 years in prison. And right away, people were absolutely torn about this decision. The judge believed that Cameron had shown no remorse, and he also had a history of racing recklessly. Meanwhile, supporters of Cameron believed that the punishment was way too harsh, considering that he was 18 years old when the entire thing happened. And today, he's still in prison. Let me know what you guys think. It's time for...
What do you guys think about that? I mean, he had a history of that, man, and I knew once you said it was side to side, man. People were really thinking it's Fast and Furious. I did it. It's not, man. It's real life. You just can't race all over the streets because you never know what's going to happen. And look at the end result.
For cookies and crime. We're still on the topic of love or lack thereof, and this case is Clara Harris. Clara Harris was a Colombian immigrant and was named Mrs. Columbia Houston and worked as a dentist. She married David Harris on February 14, 1992. Coincidence? I think not. David was an orthodontist, and together they owned a chain of dental offices. They had successful businesses, and the couple was able to afford an upscale home and lifestyle in Friendswood, Texas. On the outside, they seemed happily married. They had 3 kids, a nice house, and a couple of expensive cars. Life was great right up until David admitted he was having an affair with his former receptionist. Desperate to keep her husband, Clara tried everything to win him back. She quit her job and began working out. She dyed her hair, worked on her tan, and even scheduled a breast enhancement surgery. But when her plans failed, she got even more desperate. Clara hired a private detective to tail the 2 lovebirds, and on July 24, 2002, she got a call.
The investigator had followed the couple to the Nassau Bay Hilton.
Oh man.
And to add insult to injury, that's the same hotel where Clara and David had gotten married. Infuriated, Clara grabbed her keys and her 16-year-old stepdaughter, David's biological daughter, and sped off in her Mercedes. When she reached the Hilton, Clara stormed inside the lobby and attacked her rival, staring at her until they were escorted outside by hotel security. Still on a high of adrenaline and furious, Clara rushed back to her car, and as the adulterers walked away outside, she hit the gas, with her stepdaughter in the car. The car slammed into David, sending him into the air, and even before touching the ground, Clara hit him again. This time, she waited for David to land before running him over 3 times. Ironically, her private investigator was there and had recorded the whole incident. Clara's daughter spoke against her having been in the car. She was found guilty of murdering her husband, and on February 14, 2003, a trend here, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison, the maximum sentence allowed by the jury's sudden passion finding. The murder was ruled a crime of passion. I don't know about you guys, but I find the ruling of crime of passion so interesting because it's a ruling that considers people's emotions and how sometimes it's so uncontrollable it makes us do crazy things. Clara was released on parole May 11th, 2018 and was released from parole this month.
Careful who you get in a relationship to, man. See, because I've been saying
This is
that.
part 2 on the case of 16-year-old Susana Morales and how a police officer has been accused of murdering her. Near Susana's body, police found that belonged to 22-year-old Miles Bryant, who was currently a police officer for the Doraville Police Department. When detectives discovered that a police officer was found near the crime scene, they were very confused. I mean, this can't really be a coincidence. They start looking deeper into Miles, and that's when they discovered that on July 27th, Miles actually reported as missing. He claims he accidentally left his truck unlocked and that someone broke into the truck, they stole his weapon, they stole his military ID, and they also stole his wallet. Now, Miles filed this police report at around 11 a.m. on July 27th, just 2 hours after Susana's family had reported her as missing. Now, what are the odds that this guy's weapon was stolen 2 hours after Susana was reported missing? And then that same weapon was found near Susana's body. Just didn't make sense, so detectives looked further into him, and that's when they discovered that Miles Bryant actually lived at the Sterling Glen Apartments, the same apartments that Susana was at the night that she disappeared. Not only did he live there, but he also worked as a courtesy security officer for the building. Now, all of this is no longer a coincidence, so on February 13th, 2023, 22-year-old Miles Bryant was arrested and charged for the murder and kidnapping of 16-year-old Susana Morales. He was also accused of filing a false police report since he claims that his weapon was stolen, but in reality, it wasn't. When Susana's family heard that a police officer was arrested for her murder, they just couldn't believe it. They said that a police officer being involved was the last thing that they ever suspected. They never thought to themselves, oh, maybe a cop did it. Like, this was just so surprising. Family says that they had no idea who Miles Bryant was and that they don't believe that Susana knew him. Police have also come out and said that they haven't been able to find any type of connection between Susana or Miles Bryant. This possibly is a stranger-on-stranger crime. So this is what police think happened. The night of July 26, 2022, Susana Morales did leave the Sterling Glen Apartments at around 9:40 p.m. Then, somewhere between 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m., detectives believe that Susana encountered Bryant and that he possibly offered her a ride home. He did have his patrol car with him. He would always take it home with him. So police don't know if he did use his car or his power as a police officer to lure Susana into his car. Maybe he saw Susana walking home by herself and he decided to approach her and said, oh, I'm a cop, I can give you a ride home. It's possible that he did use his power as a police officer to get Susana to get inside his vehicle and to trust him. Detectives believe that somewhere between 10 p.m. and 2 o'clock in the morning on July 27th, Susana was killed. The cause of death has not been revealed yet, but at this time detectives don't believe that she was... Yes, the weapon was found near her body, but they don't believe that's what killed her. As police dug further into Bryant, they discovered that he had a history of stalking and harassing women. For now, Bryant remains behind bars, and I just really hope that Susana Morales gets the justice that she deserves.
Buster Murdaugh has finally put out a statement. Buster is the son of Alec Murdaugh, a former South Carolina lawyer who was recently convicted of murdering his wife and son, aka Buster's mother and brother. Buster testified for his father's defense in the trial, but there have also been a lot of rumors and suspicion around Buster's involvement in the death of a 19-year-old man, Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith was found dead on the side of the road on July 8th, 2015. One pathologist said that it seemed that he had been hit by a vehicle. However, the team that responded to the scene said that there were no vehicle debris, no skid marks, or injuries consistent with someone being struck by a vehicle.
Really?
There was no real evidence that he was struck, but his death basically was ruled accidental. About 2 years ago, when investigators started looking into the deaths of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, they also reopened the investigation into Stephen Smith's death. This was because of information that they learned while investigating the murders. There has recently been a lot of suspicion online that Buster and or Paul could have been involved in Stephen's death. Since then, Stephen's family have raised money to exhume his body and do a private independent autopsy. They are seeking a new, unbiased look at his body and an accurate determination of his cause of death based on facts. This will be happening soon, and they are hopeful that he will get justice. Since Buster's father was convicted of the murders, there's been a lot of suspicion around him and his potential involvement in Stephen Smith's death. Nothing has been proven, and it's all alleged so far. Okay. But today, Buster Murdaugh came out with a statement. He said, "I have tried my best to ignore the vicious rumors about my involvement in Stephen Smith's tragic death that continue to be published in the media as I grieve over the brutal murders of my mother and brother. I love them so much and miss them terribly. I haven't spoken up until now because I want to live in private while I cope with their deaths and my father's incarceration. Before, during, and since my father's trial, I have been targeted and harassed by media and followers of this story. This has gone on far too long. These baseless rumors of my involvement with Stephen and his death are false." He continued, "I unequivocally deny any involvement in his death, and my heart goes out to the Smith family. I am requesting that the media immediately stop publishing these defamatory comments and rumors about me." So as I said, everything that has come out about Buster's potential involvement in Stephen's death is alleged. Nothing has been proven. Hopefully the new independent autopsy will provide some answers and clarity as to what happened to Stephen. And hopefully if he was killed by somebody and his death was not an accident, he will get justice.
What do you guys think, Seekers? I mean, there was a lot of stuff that wasn't adding up about the case, but they said it was alleged so far. I mean, we're just going to have to check that up and see if anything else happened with that case. To see if there's more to it. Sounds like it.
Story of Kisia Williams, a 16-year-old girl murdered while recording what would be her last TikTok video. Disclaimer: the video is to bring awareness to Kisia Williams' story and meant to cause no harm. Please pray for the friends and the family of the victim. Atlanta, Georgia, gained national news in 2020 after a horrifying death of a young girl. In December 2020, Kisia Williams, a 16-year-old high school student, received an invite to a party that was going to be held at an Airbnb. This party would be chaperoned by an adult. Kilisia's stepfather, Ronnie Savoy, encouraged her to go to the event since she had been confined to her house since the lockdown due to COVID-19.
Okay.
Supposed to be at an Airbnb with a couple of more friends from school and the mother. They'd have done this once before, so we was a little comfortable of letting her go the second time. And we spoke to the mother, and she said she was going to be there.
April Smith, Kilisia's mother, agreed with her daughter getting some time out of the house and enjoying herself. The chaperone informed Kilisia's parents that the event would be an Airbnb party for children, and that she would be responsible for everything. The parents felt at ease and decided that sending Kisia to spend the night would be good for her.
All right.
At 12:02 a.m., Kisia is seen performing a dance routine in her TikTok video when someone suddenly entered her room without knocking. The teen looked shocked and afraid, then suddenly stopped filming her video. The sound of gunshots could be heard from her room a few minutes later. Partygoers were unaware of what happened to Kisia. Two guys discovered Kisia on the floor of her hotel room. They carried her to the elevator while holding her from behind and supporting her legs. As of 12:27 a.m., authorities had been notified about an earlier disturbance at Hyatt Regency. Following their arrival, the cops went to check on Kisia. She wasn't breathing and had no pulse. She was then transferred to the hospital, where she remained for some time. The medical staff tried to save Kilisia's life but were unsuccessful. The 16-year-old was pronounced dead in the hospital. Kilisia's parents called the chaperone to check on the well-being of their child, but were only informed about their child's death 8 hours after she passed. It was a shock to Kilisia's parents to learn of what had happened to their daughter. They were enraged because the chaperone had failed to tell them sooner of the occurrence.
The hotel room was in her name, so I feel like she should be held accountable for my daughter's death as well.
They didn't learn the group was staying at a high-end Regency until they received a horrific call the next day.
Like, this is the morgue. And I was like, the morgue? They was like, yes, ma'am. They was like, well, we're waiting on your daughter's body to come through.
What the fuck?
I'm like, whoa.
Kilisia's parents say that call didn't come until 8:45 a.m. The teen was pronounced dead at 12:23 in the morning.
Kilisia's parents were also unaware that the party had moved to Hyatt Regency Hotel instead of the Airbnb that was previously discussed. The parents felt like the chaperone should be held accountable for the tragedy that happened to their daughter, since she took responsibility for the safety of the children at the party, and her parents only allowed Kilisia to attend the party on the assurance that the chaperone would look after her. Atlanta Police Department reports that Kilisia knew her attacker. Anthony Grant, the police spokesman of the Atlanta Police Department, reported as follows. Preliminary investigation suggests that the victim was inside of a room at the Hyatt Regency with a juvenile male companion. A verbal dispute occurred between both parties which resulted in the juvenile male fatally shooting the victim. The juvenile is a 16-year-old boy, but identity is being concealed. The 16-year-old boy was taken into custody by Atlanta police and taken to Atlanta Police headquarters for additional questioning. At this time, the boy admitted to shooting Kilisia after they got into a heated argument. Police then arrested the boy and charged him with felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a gun by someone younger than 18 years of age. The defendant is now being tried in an Atlanta court pending the court's ultimate judgment. Kilisia's parents also hold the hotel staff responsible for her child's death, and they protested outside of the Hyatt Regency Hotel along with supporters to express their outrage at the hotel's negligence that resulted in their daughter's death.
I want the surveillance footage of what happened, you know, who went.
She should be able to get that footage. I mean, it's her daughter. There's a lot of misinformation, man, on our party part. They say it was at a B&B. It was going to be at the Airbnb. It turned out to be at a hotel. The chaperone, I don't know what the hell they were doing that allowed that to happen, man. It's supposed to be monitoring the party, and look what happened. You can't even go to a simple party nowadays, man. And they be so young, bro. And they be doing this type of things. They really, truly don't think out their actions, seekers. It's crazy. You guys, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a real one supporting the channel, seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell, hit that like button, man. Also, man, tell me down below once again if you guys don't like my new reaction style. Pause and letting the video play through. I'm just trying to give you guys the best content as possible, man. Also, man, let me know. Also, tell me down below if you guys like the new thumbnails, man. I'm trying to really up my game, especially, man, with someone coming up, man. We're grinding. Guys, gonna catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to our channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, man, we break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, man. From YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, man, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that like button, man. You guys are helping us push us in the algorithm, man, so we can find more seekers. Found this video for you guys today, man. You guys know what we do best, man. We seek the truth. Let's check it out.
2-year-old charged with murdering Ballarat mother Samantha Murphy has been identified as Patrick Oren Stephenson. A suppression order initially in place to protect his identity was lifted on Friday, meaning media could now name him. Stephenson was arrested by police in the early hours of Wednesday morning and has since been charged with the murder of Samantha. He was a former St Patrick's College Ballarat student and is the son of ex-Richmond and Geelong player Oren Stephenson. It's been revealed Patrick was the man investigators had in their sights for more than a fortnight before they pounced, arresting him and raiding his home. He has been remanded in custody and is due to next face court in August. Police are still searching for the body of Samantha Murphy and are asking the public for assistance.
What the hell, man? It's a crazy case.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 21. This photo shows an 8-month-old Zhao Bao who is lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding.
What the fuck?
The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation.
Really?
If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
Those are some damn freaking just disturbing facts, bro. Especially about the man and the kid with Call of Duty, bro. He took that way too far, man. You can't even freaking play a video game nowadays without somebody trying to hunt you down because you better than that. You better than them at the game. Like, what has this world come to, man? Truly.
3 urban legends that turned out to be true.
Okay.
Number 1. In the 1980s, parents in Long Island terrified their children with the legend of Cropsey. He was a murderous man who lived beneath an abandoned school and would capture children. But it was later found that the old janitor of the school was still living on school grounds, and it's believed he was responsible for the disappearance of several kids, which made the legend of Cropsey true. Number 2. Charlie No Face was the terrifying legend of a featureless man who would roam the streets of Pittsburgh at night. But it was discovered that this man did exist. His name was Raymond Robinson. He was a very nice guy, and he only left his house at night as he feared his deformity would scare people. Number 3. Legend has it that an escaped asylum patient roams near the Fairfax County Bridge, where countless amounts of dead rabbits have been found. There wasn't any legitimacy to this legend until a couple drove through this bridge in the 1970s, only to find a man dressed as a bunny who threw an axe through their windshield before they got away.
That last one, the bunny man, kind of hits hard because I've been hearing a lot of you've seen those clips before, man, but I really wasn't a true believer until this one, man. They said he threw a freaking axe through a shield, a couple was driving, sure whatever was driving. Why they do this to the bunnies? What the heck did they do to him? These are questions we need to be asking ourselves, seekers. Like, what pushes these people to do these acts?
Creepiest urban legend from each country. Philippines. White Lady of Balit Drive.
Okay.
Puerto Rico. Chupacabra.
Chupacabra? What the hell? Man, I wanted to go to Puerto Rico too. You gotta be aware. Those chupacabras, man.
Yeah, you probably should be afraid of this, because it's the second most homicidal thing in the Antarctic Ocean. First of all, you probably didn't know this murder puppy can grow to 12 feet long, weigh over 1,300 pounds. The leopard seal got its name thanks to its black spotted coat and the ability to murk almost anything in the water. Since they're built like rubber submarines, they eat basically everything, including fish, squid, and crabs. But if you watch Happy Feet, you know they save all the disrespect for penguins. They'll actually wait at the ice edge where they know penguins will jump in, just so they can turn them into a hashtag. And since the leopard seal can swim 23 miles per hour, almost 4 times faster than Phelps, they're fast enough to violate basically everything. Sometimes they'll launch themselves out the water onto land just to turn a penguin into a Happy Meal. In a season, one leopard seal can erase hundreds of penguins, to the point where they'll start murking them not for food, but just for the stats. Oh, you're not safe either. They have been known to run fades with people, and one actually grabbed a scientist and mauled her underwater until she drowned. They've also been known to bite holes in the inflatable boats people like to sit in. But to be fair, they're not all bad. One leopard seal made friends with a photographer and brought him dead and injured penguins to try to teach him how to hunt. In seal society, that's as wholesome as you're gonna get. But that doesn't change the fact that they commit actual war crimes on penguins. If I showed you all the pictures, I would get banned. You know how I said they're the second most dangerous thing in the ice ocean? Yeah, this is why.
Can you guess who this good boy is right here? This is 4-year-old Yoda, and he is the canine that caught Danilo Cavalcante today. Now I'm going to show you pictures of Yoda getting him, but I'm going to give you a trigger warning first because some of the photos are a little bit graphic. So if you don't want to see, keep on scrolling. So as we know, he was found hidden in this huge pile of lumber, and he had no idea that he was surrounded. But when he realized that they were there, he tried crawling away in a bunch of underbrush. But here's Yoda getting his ass.
Damn.
And here's another angle. As you can see, he got a little bit of injury on the top of his head there. Here's the group photo that they took. Look at him standing next to the police officers. He looks so little. I'm going to tell you, as a nurse, hospital gowns don't usually come down to the floor in grown adults. Anyway, here's his new mugshot. Oh my god. He looks a lot different than the first mugshot we saw. Well, I hope he enjoys his life behind bars. Get a little update for you guys. If you've been following the case of the 3 men from Kansas City, Missouri, who were found deceased in this backyard of their friend Jordan Willis's home that he was renting, it appears that Jordan is moving out. Now, if you don't know this case, here's a quick recap. These 3 men went over to the home of Jordan Willis on Sunday night to watch the Chiefs game. They didn't go home after the game. They didn't go to work on Monday or Tuesday. Finally, on Tuesday at around 10 p.m., Clayton's fiance had gone to the house, went around to the back because Jordan wasn't answering the door, even though she had been banging and hollering out his name and knew that he was home. So she went around to the back. She was able to break in through a window, and then she saw a body on the porch covered in snow. She called police, and after they arrived, they found 2 more bodies. Jordan apparently has no clue what happened and told people they must have just froze to death. This is after he had been ignoring everybody's calls and texts for the past 2 days, asking if he had any idea where the guys were. The police said there were no obvious signs of foul play, no arrests have been made, autopsy and toxicology reports are pending. So he can leave, but in my opinion, it kind of looks weird. I know there was talk about a search warrant on the home. I don't know if they did that yet or if they found anything. I was also informed that the police have the cell phones of the 3 guys and they're going through those.
Okay.
What do you guys think about this? I mean, I honestly thought the math wasn't mathing in this case as it was, but now he's moving out.
Like she said, the math ain't mathing. Like, all those people were trying to contact him after their friends went over to the game, and he didn't know what happened to him. They were just found in the backyard, and they said there's no suspects, no foul play. Like, come on, they gotta dig deep into that case, man. This won't be the first time somebody could get away with something like that. And he's moving. That's raising a whole bunch of red flags, seekers. Whole bunch. That it. Gotta call it out like I see it, man. But they're gonna do some edits, man. At least make it good. Like, what the hell is going on there?
The picture at the end is real. In 1876, a woman from a very prominent family in Paris goes missing. After years go by and no one has a clue what happened to this woman, friends and family ultimately mourn her death and move on. 25 years later, and this anonymous letter shows up on the Attorney General's desk, claiming that the missing woman's family had a secret. Intrigued by the letter, the police go to the family's home, show it to them, and ask to search the property, to which they say, go for it.
Okay.
They search, they don't find anything, but on the way out, they notice something very peculiar. At the end of some stairs was a door that was padlocked shut. When the family refused to open it, the police break it down and make a horrifying discovery. Cowering on a rotten straw mattress in a pitch-black room was the missing woman, now 50 years old and extremely malnourished. Her mother had imprisoned her there after they had fought over her boyfriend. And she had not seen sunlight or another human being in 25 years.
What the How could your own blood do that to you? 50, it's like she turned 50 years old because they had kept her in there for 25 years, man. Can't even imagine like being that long without human contact, without seeing the sun, just being out in the world in the open. What she had to go through, man. Tap in with us, man. You're gonna learn these cases with us.
This is one of the craziest urban legends I've ever heard. It ended up being true. So almost 100 years ago, there was an aquarium in Australia that had a giant tiger shark on display. And the legend goes that one day, in front of like groups of families, the shark threw up a human arm.
What the
And not only is that true, but it opened a murder investigation. Also, this week's episode is all about Australian true urban legends, so make sure you listen.
Okay.
So after the shark threw up the human arm, the police had to figure out whose it was and why it was in the shark's belly. Well, the first thing the police noticed was the arm was cut cleanly, not jagged like it was from a shark bite. Meaning that the arm was intentionally cut. So now it's clear that this was a murder, but whose arm is it? Well, one thing they noticed is that the arm has 2 boxers in a fighting stance tattooed on it. So they end up writing about that in the paper, and one guy who was reading it goes, "Hey, that sounds like my brother's tattoo."
What?
His brother was a man named Jim Smith, and he was involved in the seedy underbelly of Sydney society. Jimmy ran insurance fraud scams in Sydney, and he was just involved with a lot of bad people. And the last person he was seen with was one of Sydney's most notorious criminals.
Damn.
The story has a lot of twists, including how was he involved with the last guy he was seen with. And there's a lot of fun Australian urban legends, like the story of the Button Man, so make sure you check out this week's episode.
Most Scary Urban Legends,
Crazy.
Part 6. This is Krasu. She's a Thailand legend. She's a female spirit who wanders the fields at night. At first you would just see her face, until you look down and she has no body, and just her internal organs. Her guts are usually covered with fresh red blood. Her face appears to look somewhat like a vampire's. She has very sharp teeth, and sometimes has a blue halo around her head. She is always hungry for meat, whether that be animal meat or human meat. Before she goes hunting, she hides her headless body somewhere safe, and she needs to come back to it before sunrise. And then she becomes a normal person again for the day with no differences from anybody else. One of her origins was that she was a princess who was forced to marry a high-ranked Seminese member who killed her people in battle. But she loved somebody else and was caught with them by the Seminese member. She was then sentenced to be burned alive. She then asked the witch for help, who summoned a spell on her immune to fire. But the spell worked too late, and everything was burned besides her internal organs and head.
Ooh. It's a crazy legend. We're going to have to check that out, Seekers. Krasu? You guys obviously see that's an edit.
This is why you should never open your door for strangers.
Okay.
In 2013, a woman let her dog out to use the bathroom one more time before bed. After only a few minutes, she starts hearing scratching on her door, which is typically the sound her dog makes when he's ready to come in. But it just seemed way too soon for him to be done being outside. So she decides to look through the peephole to make sure it really is her dog. But what she sees is terrifying. A deranged-looking man is right outside her door, staring intently at her door handle, waiting for it to turn open. As she's looking in horror, unable to do anything, he starts scratching at the door as hard as he can, never leaving his gaze from the door handle. She manages to stifle a scream, she backs away, and realizes her dog is still outside. So she goes to the side window, but there's no sign of her dog. And so she goes back to the door to see if maybe the man's moved. He hasn't moved, his mouth is open, and he's staring directly at the peephole. Then he turns around and walks away. With the man gone, she discovers her dog unharmed, his leash had just been cut. But that means he had a knife.
What the hell? You gotta be careful out
This
here,
is
man.
the story of how 2 kids witnessed a potential murder on Omegle. A 14-year-old kid and his friend Anthony were having a sleepover one night. When Anthony arrived at his friend's house, they both went upstairs onto the computer and onto Omegle. The boys matched up with a girl who seemed to be around the age of 18. The girl was sitting in a dark room with a blue light shining on her face. The boys were planning on being really mean and annoying. But then Anthony then said, "Who is that behind you?" Anthony's friend then looked behind the girl but saw nothing, so he thought Anthony was joking. The girl knew right away that Anthony was just messing with her. Anthony then insisted to the girl that there was someone behind her, so his friend played along with it. The girl turned around and saw nothing. Anthony's friend also saw nothing behind the girl. Anthony then said that there was someone hiding behind her bed. Anthony's friend then looked at Anthony as if he was joking, but Anthony was being 100% serious. All of a sudden, Anthony's friend then saw the same man that Anthony was seeing behind her bed. Part 2 will be out in a moment.
God damn it, these part 2s always get us, Seekers, man. It's a hassle trying to find them, but that's just insane. I'm about to say, didn't they shut down Omegle, right? Like, Omegle doesn't even exist anymore because, like, too many weird stuff is happening on that website. It gives, like, kids too much access to things. that they shouldn't be seeing. You guys know about Omegle. If you know, you know that site, it can get real dangerous, bro. If you match with the wrong person, man. If you know, you know.
Just a few weeks before Mika's passing, her sister shared these posts via Facebook. Please do not fall for the nonsense being shared about my sister needing restoration, healing, and forgiveness. Narcs working publicly with no accountability is insane. As I was sitting in church today, I received a text message. Usually, I don't check my phone and I keep it on silent. But with everything going on with my sister, Micah, I've made it a point to try to keep an eye on it for fear of her safety due to others' behavior towards her. To no surprise, it was a message about what was said from the pulpit today in Myrtle Beach at her church. I have so much sadness that someone could take the position that was, hopefully, given to them by God, and use it for their own benefit, abusing God's gift of free will. Please hear my heart when I say if you attend that church, guard your heart and get in the Bible. The church is the people and God, not the pastor. When the pastor is married and he's on stage giving a sermon, saying he's going to pray to God for a hot wife that should raise 1 million red flags. When a pastor is on stage in a sermon saying he's going to wave to all his Facebook haters on his private plane on the way to Miami, that should raise a red flag.
Definitely should.
When the pastor is up there saying that he's angry at God for always making his sermons about what he's going through in his life, you should take that as a red flag. When the pastor is saying he shouldn't be up there preaching to you, you should hear what he's saying and take it seriously. I can only imagine how emotionally straining it is for Micah having somebody in a position of influence spreading lies about her to the entire congregation. And I commend my sister for standing tall and standing on God's word.
She was just exposing that damn pastor. Everything she kept saying, man, those were red flags. Talk about praying for a hot wife and waving on your private plane to Miami. That's not what it's, I guess, being a pastor is about. He's just focused on the money aspect of it. It should be about helping people. If you guys see those red flags, just turn away, man. Trust me. You can definitely tell that was Ned.
Imagine your friend being murdered while on FaceTime with you. Kelvi McCrae was a stunning 18-year-old from Florida. She was a beautician and a model and was described as being very intelligent with a flair for life. Earlier this year, she'd been living at West Palm Beach. Her ex-boyfriend was 19-year-old Keyshawn Shaw. The pair had been together for around a year when she actually broke up with him. Now, she stated that he really didn't seem to accept the fact that things were over between them. A day prior to the tragic incident in question, police got a 911 call. Kelvi told the operator how her ex had tried to strangle her and had held a gun to her head. He tried to hold her against her will, and as she tried to flee the scene and get in a car and drive away, he had apparently flung himself onto the windshield and smashed it. Police charged him with false imprisonment, aggravated assault and battery. The day after, police responded to yet another 911 call. This time, though, it was a report of a shooting. Kelvi had been apparently on FaceTime with a group of her friends. Shockingly, her ex suddenly shot her in the head, neck and back. The incident unfolded in front of her horrified friends on FaceTime. They obviously reported what they'd witnessed to police. When authorities arrived, they found the ex in the house with gunshot wounds himself. Kelvi was unfortunately deceased. Keyshawn was leaning against a wall and was arrested and transferred to hospital. He then later died from his injuries.
Micah Miller's death has officially been...
People gotta be aware of the relationships, they be trying to get into, man. When somebody wants to end it, just let it be like that. It doesn't have to turn into something else, man.
Ruled a suicide by the Robertson County Sheriff's Department. They released these last images of Micah going into a store and leaving her home on a Ring camera. They also released audio from a 911 call in which Micah called 911 to try to find out her location so that her family could find her after she took her life. It is so heartbreaking to hear and huge trigger warning, but I'm going to play that audio for you.
Robertson County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
You don't know where you're at?
At National Park.
What's the phone number you're calling me from?
843.
Where's the park located at?
In Bear Bluff. I have my location on, I think, on my phone. Find my phone is on. Just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing,
You gotta track that down.
You are in Robinson County. At the Lumber River State Park?
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay.
You gotta just ask him to trust the phone call.
I'm about to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay,
No
ma'am.
way.
Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
There are still questions about if anybody else is to blame for Micah's death. And there are a lot of unanswered questions in this case. But I am keeping Micah's family and friends in my thoughts because this must be such a difficult time for them. Rest in peace, Micah.
Rest in peace, Michael, man. Look at this image. I see the skulls. I see the kids crying up there. I see that? Seekers? That's a damn haunting image for sure. I don't know what the hell was going on in that image. Something was going on. About to track that down or something, man. That was crazy. Seekers, if you guys stayed with me to the end of the video, you're a real one. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Like I said, guys, Seekers, are you guys enjoying the changes to the channel, man? Like I said, my reaction style, I'm trying to pause. If you guys noticed the past couple of videos, I've been pausing way less, letting it play out, saving my thoughts until after, man. Also, man, trying to upgrade these thumbnails for you guys. Really trying to just fire on all cylinders, man. I'm trying to grow. Like I said, this summer, we're going to be grinding, man. I've been posting every single day, man. Haven't missed a day yet, man. So can I see some clapping emojis down below, Seekers, man? I want to see those down below, bro. Have not missed a day of uploading and don't plan to. You guys are going to catch in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, Seekers.